if you had to convince someone to watch Purple Rain, and the only way you could do so is by showing them one scene or one moment from the movie, what would you choose? Josh, you go first.
I think if you're gonna make it through the movie, I think Darling Nikki, man. I think if you see that and you see like the reactions and the emotions that he's pouring out.
Yeah.
She took me to her castle and I just couldn't believe my eyes. She had so many devices, everything that money could buy. She said, sign your name on a dotted line. The lights went out and Nikki started to grind.
I think if you can get through that, I think you're gonna be golden for the movie. But I mean, pick a song, really. I mean,
sure.
I mean, you get like you guys are saying, like you get to see the full performance of those songs, and like we were talking about the home life, but the songs are real. Like it does. Like they were so tight performing. Yeah. Like they were so tight when they performed on the movie, and it showed for sure.
Yeah, one of the things that got brought up in the featurettes was like they said that they were gonna they rented out that theater for a month. They paid $100,000 to close it down for a month because they thought they would need like a month to a month and a half to film all of the performances for every single band, and they were done in 10 days. Like everybody, they were so tight that they just like knocked it out. I'm like, man, that's crazy. Damn. That's how like into it these guys
disciplined. Are. That's how disciplined they were. I mean, that's something that Prince had. Like, if he ever had an interview, he was always like, what are you into? And he's just like, I just play music. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. They're like, do you go outside? Do you do anything? And he's just like, not really. He's like, the weather in Minnesota is cold enough that it keeps my ass inside to just practice music all the time.
Perfecting pancakes. My number one pick is what you have, Tyler. So I'll let you speak on that. But the other scene that I like a lot is with the kid and his dad when they're talking about like when his dad's playing the piano and just all that stuff. Just like, no, I don't have to write it down. It's all in my head. Like just like needs to like keep one up above the kid. And just, then asking him like, are you guys going to get married about Apollonia? That whole scene, fuck, man, that's rough. It's beautiful. It's great. But it's like, man, that's where like that drama is. And that's, based on Prince's real life. Like the director, Prince told him that story. He's like, cool, we got to work this in there. And I think it works out so great. And it's just like, I would show them that just because I feel like you could show them any performance and it's going to be a sell, but I would want people to see like there is also like decent acting and decent drama in here as well. This is probably one of the better scenes. So like if you connect to this, you'll love everything that isn't the music, because I can't imagine anyone not loving the music. So I think that'd be my pick, my 1B behind, what you're going to talk about.
Well, before I tell you, by you, I mean the listener and viewer, Matt, what scene would you show someone to sell this movie?
So, I mean, my favorite scene is the one that you're going to mention. Just kind of raise that suspense there. Wait for what Tyler says.
We'll
tell you in a few minutes. I will tell you right after I tell you this in a few minutes.
What, do we just turn into an ESPN drive time show? Like, what's happening here? Coming up after the break.
Yeah.
But first.
I love that scene, the one that we're going to talk about, but
but first,
but if the people that I would try to get to watch this movie, I would honestly probably just show them the Batman disappearance sequence. Like I would just show them this girl at the club who just enjoyed this performance. Now he's behind her. Now he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like that would actually probably be enough for them to be like, okay, I got to check out Purple Rain.
He's a magical elf.
Yeah.
The thing I like about all of our different scenes is, and I kind of picked this question for this reason, is everyone that we would have shown in this scenario is going to have a different impression of what this movie is going to be.
Oh, 100%.
Because when they see Matt's, it's like, I mean, because frankly, that's your first impression watching the movie, essentially, is watching him do the Batman disappear to Apollonia, right? So you're like, what is even going to be this movie, right? Or but when you watch Darling Nikki, it's like, or versus watching the heart-wrenching scene with him and his dad, like those are wildly different vibes.
So different.
And I feel like the reason I picked the scene I did is because to me it more encapsulated like what this movie's about. And that's when he sings The Beautiful Ones while you mentioned it earlier, Ben, while Apollonia's sitting at the table with Morris Day and he's just points right at her and just sings his song directly into her soul.
I want you.
And like I had never heard that song before, or I don't remember it. And
so
I was
good,
like,
man.
I was like jaw on the floor. I was floored at this song. To me, that was the best scene in the whole movie, despite, shouts to Purple Rain and Lake Minnetonka. But like, I was just like, that was incredible. And it was like, I was just transfixed, right? So I thought it was beautiful. And it sort of just set up like, this is what this movie is. It's this guy trying to win this girl and he's trying to win this moment, not only just with Apollonia, but with like his rival Morris Day. He's trying to own this stage, hold this stage. And to me, that was the movie all in one little scene. And I just couldn't love it more.
Yeah.
What's it gonna be, babe? Do you want him? Do you want me? 'Cause I want you.
Quick footnote on Darling Nikki for those of you listening who grew up hiding your parental advisory CDs from your parents. You can thank Darling Nikki for that.
Oh yeah.
Rad.
Because apparently that spearheaded the whole thing there.
Tipper
Oh,
Gore.
you-
Yeah,
Tipper
Tipper
Gore.
Gore's daughter or whatever, right? Like
Yep.
yeah.
That's right.
That's incredible.
It's funny. I always associate it with like NWA or whatever. Like, no, it's Prince. It's Prince's mom.
It's always Prince.
Yeah, it was a little bit of Prince. I remember them talking about Tori Amos too.
Oh yeah.
She
Real
had,
troublemaker.
She had a popular song. But isn't that funny? Like that was like when you looked at that little parental advisory, you're like, oh, this must be a great CD.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Like it was a total selling point.
Mhm.
I know, Ben, you used to purposely buy both the clean and dirty version,
Yes.
but did you ever get
Yeah.
the clean version expecting the explicit version? Such a bummer.
Such a bummer. Nightmare.
It's the worst.
I
It
did
happens on Spotify sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I did that with the Cypress Hills CD
Oh,
when I was a
really?
kid. Yeah, Temple of Boom. And I was like, what the hell is this shit?
They've gone soft on me.
That's awesome.
Well, so in like the same lines of the last question, I think I want to ask this question because my pick for this prompt is different than what I just answered. But like for you, who or what won the movie for you guys? Whether it was a scene or a moment or one particular line, an actor, song, whatever. Just what won the movie for you? Because like I said, for me, it's despite everything I said about that scene, it's different. My answer's different. So Josh, what do you have here?
For me, what won the movie is the music, man. Plain and simple, it's got to be the music. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something that stands the test of time. It's something that you don't necessarily need the movie for. And
Well, I'm glad you just
it's
said
got that
that
stamina. It outlives the movie, you know?
Mhm.
You would probably know this more than I would, but did he write these songs for this movie, or did he like craft the movie around songs he already had? I know, Ben, you talked about When Doves Cry, but like, because the song, if he made them just for the movie, it's fucking incredible because like you said, it could be just an album on its own, but it's a soundtrack.
So what I had heard or read, half-assed internet research, is that he had over 100 songs
Mhm.
ready to go for this movie.
Okay.
And so I would guess that by that rationale, he just had something to fit with whatever scene they wanted to be like, oh, okay, this one's about jealousy. Okay, this one's about me. Yes, I want to be a preacher, but I want to be sexy at the same time. Like I think he had such an extensive library that he could just mix and match.
That's what the director said exactly. It's like Prince sent him about 100 songs and he picked 12 of them, and Purple Rain wasn't even one of them. And obviously we talked about When Doves Cry. So like he picked all these other songs and those two weren't even part of it yet. So yeah, wow. I think, what Josh said is right. I think he just probably had a story in mind and then like had the song that would fit wherever the story was going. So, but yeah, that's nuts to me. I'm just going to jump in here. Like, so for me, I'll tell you the line that like caught me off guard the most is the one I said at the beginning of this episode. Cause it's like after all that drama goes on, like I'm assuming we're in spoilers here. At the beginning of the episode, we tell everyone it's a spoiler episode, but like Prince's dad, like trying to kill himself, like all that stuff going on. Prince is going through some real shit. And then Morris Day walks by and he's like,
how's the family?
I was like, holy shit, man. Like, this guy is
does that like
cold-blooded.
Sideways head around the door frame thing. Like,
but you know what?
Oh my God. Like, that's insane. Like, I don't know. That really just like.
He regrets it, though. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, he regrets being an asshole.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
But in that moment, you know, when he's like surrounded by his squad or whatever and has to like live up to the whatever contention they have together. But for me, what won this, like it's basically Josh's answer, but for me, it's specifically the Purple Rain song. And that's because I feel like I got a different context for it now after seeing the movie, because after everything that happens and then it plays like, you know, about like the two women who kind of like wrote the opening chords, like, and him finally accepting that, and then it being like a tribute to his dad, all that kind of stuff. Like it just hit different. And it reminded me of one of the very few things I liked about Bohemian Rhapsody, was like the context of We Are the Champion being a song for the LGBTQ community. Like that's what it was about. You know, that's why he wrote it and stuff. And now it's just like a sports song. It's like, we won. We're the champions. It's like, no, like having the context of like, no, this is for like the minorities, the people who like need, I don't know, that don't get the recognition, whatever, you know. It's just like, that's what this song is for. I'm like, oh, I never thought about it in that context. That means so much more to me now than just as a sports song. And that same thing happened for me here with Purple Rain. Like it's a great song. Listen to it all you want. Like it's beautiful. You don't even have to really care about like the lyrics or anything, but seeing it in this movie in the context of what was happening with the narrative, it just hit me so much harder. It's like, man, this song just takes on a real new meaning for me, at least a new, understanding. So that's for me is what won.
I mean, it's hard not to pick Purple Rain.
It's like the title song. It's like the
but
end
it's
of the
like,
movie.
but you're right.
Like
it's like sometimes the winner's just the winner. You know, I don't know. Matt, what did you think?
I agree with what was said earlier about like, so some of the direction seemed a little off or a little amateurish at times, and like I agree with that 100%. But also like, there's something about the aesthetic of this movie that just felt like a complete Prince package.
Yeah.
It
it was shot really well. Like the cinematography was incredible.
Oh yeah.
It just felt so Prince. And just to harken back to what I said earlier, like it felt like a comic book movie, but where the superhero is the band or Prince and his band. And like with like some of the smoke and the colors, particularly in the Beautiful One scene, like when it's doing some of like the color stuff with like the different color on his face and the different lighting in the background, like getting like the right type of contrast and different types of colors is not an easy thing to do. And it just looked effortless and just like so cool in that scene. And so that was a scene where I was just like, this is really awesome. And not to mention like that scene in its entirety is cool, but like just seeing the effects and the stuff that they carried over across the whole movie was pretty cool. Yeah. That's what won it over for me. Yeah,
I have to agree, man. Like the way they were able to create the world they lived in and the aesthetic and the look and keep it consistent, like it was really impressive. Like there was a lot of, I guess that's why I just keep harping on, like, I wish they would have nailed the storytelling better because this had all the elements to be just such a fucking classically good movie. And you know, they have Prince on their roster, so like he's gonna carry quite a bit of weight here, and that's why I picked. I picked Apollonia. I think she won the movie because Prince was always gonna be transcendent, right? Like he was always gonna. The music was always gonna be great. It was gonna look great. He was gonna be cool. All that. I mean, I guess not necessarily. He's in other movies that suck, but you know what I mean. It just seemed like to me, I just like Apollonia won because this was by far her biggest success as an actress that I could tell. And this role thrust her straight into like our cultural lexicon, right? Like I knew who Apollonia was before I even knew what Purple Rain was. Me personally, that's not the same for everyone. Obviously, a lot had to do with Dave Chappelle and other things, and Kanye references and stuff. But to me, it was just like I knew about Apollonia, I knew about Lake Minnetonka, even before I knew where they came from or what they were. They were even like attached to Prince necessarily. So for me to have for her to have transcended all of that, all of the Prince, all of the Prince of it all, and to have her be sort of like, when you think of Purple Rain, I would imagine one of the first things anyone thinks of is Apollonia, whether it's like, obviously the song, obviously Prince, but it's sort of like, oh, Purple Rain, Prince, Apollonia. And that's pretty impressive, Along those same lines, and sort of tipping my hand, I just was sort of thinking of like all the things that weren't Prince in the movie, you know what I mean? And how much they had to carry. And, like in basketball, we have the sixth man, and our boy Jordan Clarkson just won. Shout out Jordan Clarkson, like and subscribe.
Shout out.
Please.
Flamethrower. Wouldn't that be sweet? But yeah, so the sixth man is sort of the guy that comes in off the bench and carries the weight while the big guns are resting, so to speak. So I don't know. Anyways, like, who was your favorite supporting role in this movie, or like what minor character stood out to you the most? Whether it's just like one line they said or a moment or whatever. What do you guys have here, Josh? I'll go to you first.
So I would have liked to see. I would have liked to say Morris Day would be, an MVP. I mean, he's got kind of a hard job in this movie, and I'm sure he didn't just want to get shit on the whole movie, but for me, it's Clarence Williams III. Like he's the best supporting actor of this film. Like I said, shit seems legitimately dangerous at home. And especially when I saw it as a kid, in some ways, he's kind of like the mom in the horror movie Carrie. Like he's got that piety type of argument. He's always calling his wife a sinner. He's calling them all sinners. It's like, well, why is there a sinner? Like, there doesn't seem to be any real reason why. There's some suggestion that she likes to party, but the house wasn't clean.
Who doesn't?
She doesn't seem to believe in him. So he hits her. It's like, what the fuck, man? And I think this relationship between the kid and his father is complicated. And that's how I think that maybe it's not different than his real life, because his dad actually was a musician and didn't make it as big as he did. But this seems to be like the most real sentiment of the movie, and I attribute that to the performance of C-Dub the Third. R.I.P.
Yeah,
just recently too.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Like in June, he passed away.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
crazy.
Yeah, he was a great actor, man, and we probably remember him from Half Baked and stuff like that. And I always thought he was a good actor, and it started with this for me. Like, this was the first movie I saw him in. And I was scared. So
yeah, I was scared watching this one.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt? Who would you pick as your sixth man here?
I'd probably go with Morris. Just that opening scene where the Revolution's performing and like he's getting ready and like heading into the venue.
Yeah.
And then his performance, throughout. Yeah, you'd be my pick. I
will say, like, despite him just getting straight dunked on by Prince immediately, like, he did look like his performance was rad. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he was a great performer. He's good. Cool.
He's tight.
Jungle Love's a good song. It's a fun song. It's fun to dance to. And I guess like something I didn't mention earlier, but like I could see, to argue against myself here, like if you're going to the club to dance and Prince starts, playing the Beautiful Ones, you're like, can't dance to that song. That's maybe not the vibe they're going for a dance club, but like, Morris Day, he makes the people move, so like, I think Morris is a great pick because, like you said, Josh, it probably was a tough assignment. Like, all right, Morris, you're going to be the anti-hero here. You're going to be the antagonist. You're going to be an asshole. And like, I'm sure Morris wanted to be liked generally, as so like to put himself in a position to have people be like, oh, that's Morris Day, fuck that guy, like I'm all about Prince. I don't know, I think that's tough, but he did a great job.
There's some interesting things about him in this movie too. Like I read somewhere that they had to drag him out of his room.
Yeah.
Because he was so high, they had to drag him to the set because he was getting high all the time at that time. And but something else that is kind of cool is I think it was about 2 years ago, I actually saw him at the airport. Looks exactly the same, dresses the same, has a little bit of an entourage around him.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, that's where my answer is. It's Jerome. It's his like right hand man, the mirror guy.
Yes.
Like he for me was just like so much fun to watch. Like he doesn't even say a lot, but just like his expressions, like his body movements, all that kind of stuff. Like
that time when he does the head through the door frame, like after.
Oh my god, it was
I was dying laughing. That's so funny.
Or even just like Costello.
That whole bit, like when they're in the car out front and he just like puts his head like on the headrest, just like looking back, all like I don't know, just all his mannerisms to me are like, oh, this is fun. I like this, and that's like the energy a guy like that has to have if you're gonna be like Morris Day's hype man. Like you've got to be fucking hype, and that's like that was him, and he knew his role, and I think he did a great job. So like I would just like hop on Matt's coattails here and just like the 1-2 of Morris Day and Jerome. I think they really held it together. That and the lighting crew, because goddamn, all those concerts look so good.
Yeah,
those guys did a great job.
Shout out the hardworking people at your venue.
Yeah,
go support local art and music. To be honest, I wrote down a different answer, but as I was thinking about it, Jerome would have been in my actual pick. He just made me laugh the most. He sort of just like every time he was on screen, I just enjoyed it. So, but I wrote down Apollonia. It was hard for me not to pick Apollonia after everything I just said about her. And also it helps me to introduce a new segment, a new sort of recurring theme to the podcast, similar to like Rushmore Mountain. What I want to do is make a repeatable segment where we can each make picks. We can discuss why we made the picks, and then we can throw out a poll like on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. And then we'll let our listeners decide who won that week's episode. The idea behind the segment is to just choose the thing from this movie that stands out to you the most, or the one thing that transcends the movie itself and becomes what everyone remembers the most, whether it's a scene, a character, a line. You name it, you make the case. And to show my hand a little bit, I want to name the award something like the Apollonia Achievement Award. Because for me, like I said, her character and the Lake Minnetonka scene in particular became like a pop culture reference. It's almost sort of became its own thing. It was bigger than the movie itself. And, it got referenced in Chappelle's Show and in music and stuff. So like I said, for me, when I think of Purple Rain, the movie, I think of Apollonia. And I think that happens a lot in movies. Like, there's certain moments or side characters, or even from like The Big Lebowski, like there's things that like Brant does or whatever, like there's characters that stand out that aren't necessarily the main thing. So I want to try and introduce this to the podcast. So I guess, I don't know, maybe it's kind of difficult because I don't know if we're all going to pick Apollonia. That would be my pick. I'm naming the award after her. But each week we'll watch a movie and we'll take a moment down to Lake Minnetonka, dunk it in the waters, cleanse it, and put it out for the listeners to vote on. So, Matt, I didn't know you were going to be here, so I didn't have you written down here. But now I'm going to put you on the spot and make you go first.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just kidding. Josh, if you've got something prepared or a moment or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go ahead and repeat what I'd said in the beginning. Does it have to be a character, or
I just mean it's just like
can it be anything about the movie?
Thing, like the thing that that you think is the movie, or transcends the movie, or maybe this segment doesn't work. I just wanted to try it. We can cut it, but
the thing that works the best for me, and like I said before, a repeatable thing is the music and the performances of that music. The songs is where, other than those little drama moments at home, the high drama at home between his dad and him. Other than that, it's the performances from him to Apollonia, to that whole dynamic there. It's the music to me.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like I said, I'm going to vote Apollonia here. That's going to be who I nominate. But like, to be honest, it's sort of Apollonia only has a puncher's chance here to beat out the actual music of Prince for her own award. But
I like that you're calling it that, because I feel like she's pretty unappreciated. I mean, there's people mention her in songs and stuff, but where was Apollonia? Like, where are all the Apollonia movies? She probably could have, you know, she could have been Michelle Rodriguez. Maybe if she, you know, worked out a little bit and
yeah,
you know,
who knows, man.
It took up boxing, some MMA fighting.
It just struck me that like every movie seems to have something that like becomes a part of like the pop culture, right? It becomes the moment or becomes the thing from the movie. Like, you know, I use The Big Lebowski as an example. There's a ton of moments in there that you could name, but like the Jesus scene, the bowling scene, and the 8-year-olds, dude, like just those little things, like that was sort of like a little one-off side story in the movie. And it just, to me, those are like, when you think of The Big Lebowski, that's kind of what you think about, is some of those moments. And everyone's got their own different ones. So yeah, I think it's an interesting thought experiment, like what everyone thinks is the most transcendent thing.
I would say that the most transcendent thing, since it impacted probably the most people on the planet, was the Darling Nikki parental advisory connection.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So that would be my pick. I know it's more of an indirect
but that's exactly what I mean. That's what I want this category to be. Is it doesn't have to be an actor or whatever. It's just like, what is the thing that most came from this movie? That's
everyone who knows that sticker, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Purple Rain.
And they made t-shirts out of that sticker.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you have here, Ben?
You're up
against some tough.
Yeah.
I admit this is a tough one, because I had a specific thing in mind that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to name it after Apollonia. So
it's hard to not like. I mean, I think Josh's answer is the first thing I thought of, like just the soundtrack itself, like that will outlast the movie. I mean, I think all of us spoke to it pretty much. It's just like we knew the music before the movie. And I guess along those lines, like the only thing I can kind of tie it into is just like the idea of kind of the music biopic with these performances in it, because I don't know how much of that we had before this, you know, where people are using this as a platform for new music.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, you know, you have like the Doors and you're going to see them do that, but that's like old Doors music. Like I don't know, like creating a soundtrack for this while telling their story. Like, I don't even know how to like phrase the answer, and it's probably not an answer, but that's just something I don't know how many people were doing before, where it's like, I'm going to tell my story with new music. And I don't know. There's like the concert performance of it all. Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't really have an answer, to be completely honest, but I was just kind of like taken aback by like, oh, this was, I feel like pretty innovative for the time, where it's like, I know what songs I'm going to do to tell my story. So now we're going to do that. So I don't know.
No, I admit this was, I'm really trying to shoehorn a new segment here, but I think, I mean, you're right. Like I was thinking the same thing watching the movie. Like, I don't know how much this was done. Like this specifically, like this is right around when MTV was becoming a thing. And it's like, you can tell that Prince recognizes this as an opportunity to like have his music be visual as well, like give it a visual experience as well as the audio experience. So I guess maybe just like music as a visual medium, could be your winner here. The one thing we haven't talked about yet that I think needs to be talked about is Prince's fucking awesome purple Honda. I love that motorcycle so much. So in honor of that motorcycle, I want to do Motorcycles and Movies Rushmore.
These are OR scrubs.
Oh, are they?
You know, your favorite movies featuring like with, you know, it could be just a cool motorcycle scene, one scene in a movie, or a movie about motorcycles and then feature them prominently. Josh, what do you have here?
I'd say the first thing I think of is probably Easy Rider.
Yeah.
Akira was really badass with the motorcycle that he's riding in that.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction, I mean, Zed's dead, baby.
Zed's
Like,
dead.
Sure is.
Come on, get on.
Gotta go, come on.
Whose motorcycle is this?
It's a chopper, baby.
Whose chopper is this?
Zed's.
Who's Zed?
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
you, and then a newer film that I really liked is Place Beyond the Pines. Did you guys ever check that out?
Oh yeah.
I did. Yeah.
I mean, motorcycle all over that place. But some honorable mentions for me. The Great Escape, On Any Sunday, which is a documentary. That I have a friend that's real huge into like dirt bike racing and all that stuff. He had me watch On Any Sunday when we were kids, but yeah, both of which have A Heavy Hand by Steve McQueen. And I know you guys are going to talk about, Motorcycle Diaries and Purple Rain, but they're up there for me too. But
way to spoil our list, Josh.
those first. Well, I wanted to say some of that stuff, but it's like I gotta bring something else to the table. But yeah, the first things I think of are those first four that I thought about, besides the ones that we're coming to.
Yeah, for sure. Were you able to put a list together for this, Matt?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I'll tell you right after we talk about. Just kidding.
Stay tuned.
Great comment.
Yeah. So mine, I'm going to start with a movie that I have not seen yet, but I will have seen it by the time this airs, and it already has one of my favorite motorcycle scenes, Annette with Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Just watch the trailer and,
Okay.
it's
So,
already,
so let's just say the trailer to Annette.
yeah, right. The trailer to Annette.
Yeah, I'll allow
Just
it because you
Adam
have
Driver with the helmet on. Yeah.
I like it.
If you watch the trailer, you'll know what I mean.
Please tell me your list is just 4 different Adam Driver movies.
It's actually all Annette.
It's just Adam Driver next.
It's just different scenes.
He's a
from
big
Annette.
steamy motorcycle.
Yeah. The second one would be Darjeeling Limited with the three brothers riding on it. In a similar vein, the Dumb and Dumber scene with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels.
I thought about that too.
Oh, that's such a good one. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? I'm going to throw it back to Secret of the Ooze with Keno delivering pizza.
Nice.
I like that.
That's a solid one.
Those are my 4.
What a great list.
Yeah.
So for mine, one of the first ones I thought of was Tron Legacy, because I those scenes are cool. Just like the Tron, all that kind of stuff I think is rad. The Great Escape also, like that's just, it's the cover, it's one of the best scenes. It's a great Steve McQueen movie. I was kind of like going back and forth on this because I don't know. I like the shot in it so much more for Mission Impossible Fallout, where he's like, I don't know, he's on the bike trying to evade everyone, and like the camera's going around him clockwise while he's going counterclockwise on the bike. And he's just like in a roundabout, I believe in France. It's just a really cool scene. It's one that I always like watching. So I would put that one up there. I guess you could also just put Mission Impossible 2, like where they jump off the bikes at each other. Like just there's a lot of cool motorcycle stuff with Mission Impossible. And then for just completely absurd movie, there's one called Torque.
Yeah.
With Ice Cube and Dane Cook, and it's essentially like they saw Fast and the Furious, and they're like, "What if we did this but with bikes, like speed bikes?" And like, all right, let's
Dane
do
Cook.
it. Like, I think I'm sure there was a conversation at some point about this being like some crossover universe. It is horrible. It is so bad, but it is so fun to watch. Like they fight using their bikes, and just like, the law of gravity does not matter. Like physics doesn't matter at all the way they use these things, but it's a lot of fun if you're in the mood for just like a really weird movie that was trying to be Fast and Furious. Like it's a good time. So yeah, Torque would take my 4th spot.
Wow. So there's like Easy Rider and The Great Escape and Akira, all movies I haven't seen that I would like to, that feature motorcycles, and one movie that I hope I never see in Torque. Cycles. That's beautiful. Well, so my list has Purple Rain. It's the reason I came up with this list. I just loved it so much. the way he wrote it, like the ridiculous stunts they did with it were just so fucking funny to me. And it's just such a cool motorcycle. So Prince, like he's the only person that could get away with that bike,
For sure.
Wearing the clothes that he did. He's just, goddamn.
With his guitar on his back too, just like driving around.
It's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That was so funny. I like that.
Next up, Josh, you mentioned it earlier, The Motorcycle Diaries. I love that movie. And
Me too.
Entirely.
Love that book.
Yeah. I actually never, have I read the book? I don't remember.
Oh, the book's great.
Yeah.
And then Top Gun, which couldn't be more different than The Motorcycle Diaries. It's like pure capitalism and and machismo, but you know, classic campy motorcycle stuff in there. And then The Dark Knight, the crazy spinning wheel that spins sideways, and the whole Joker showdown and everything.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Where he flips over the semi truck, like
the
coolest.
Just watching him weave through the cars and stuff, and
come on, hit me.
Yeah, so good stuff. Motorcycles are cool, man. They scare the living shit out of me, but they're really cool.
Yeah,
I'll never get on one, but they're fun to watch on.
I'll drive real slow on one.
And then for honorable mentions, I put down the speeder bikes on Endor. I always thought they were super fun. And Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is actually the first thing I thought of, but didn't make my list.
That was my debate between Mission Impossible and Terminator 2, because it's more Terminator 2, like it plays a bigger role, but I just really love that scene in Mission Impossible, so I went with that one. But yeah, T2 is your list. Solid. It is my list.
Yeah. Well, I thought you guys would bring up Terminator 2 because, I mean, that's such a memorable scene.
It's iconic, man.
Yeah, man.
Arnie on a motorcycle. I love it. Well, fellas, my room in my apartment is 80 degrees because I turned off my air conditioner. So if you guys want to keep talking, that's great. But I'm going to sign off.
See you, Tyler.
Yeah, see you guys. No, but seriously, Josh, it's always a pleasure to have you on, man. I feel like these conversations could be like 3 hours long if we let them. So
totally.
It's a bummer we have to cut them short. I guess we don't have to, but anyways, it's super awesome to have you on here. I'm glad that you were able to come on and talk about this one, because I knew you would know a bunch of stuff about it, and it's just always great to see it.
I know too much shit about it. Just rattling around in my brain.
Plug your site one more time before we get out of here.
So JL Johnston, and that's spelled JOHNSTON.art.
.art. Yeah, check it out, man. And by man, I mean whoever you are listening to.
Man, woman,
the
child.
Link, link in the description.
Every man, woman, or child.
Yeah,
friends, enemies, frenemies,
whoever it is. Check it out. It's good stuff. And once you've checked out Josh's stuff, make sure you hop on to our Twitter, our Instagram. Let us know what you thought of the episode, what you think of Purple Rain and Prince and all this good stuff. Let us know your favorite Prince moments, your favorite Prince songs, and let us know, what you thought about the conversation. If we're up in the night, or if we're spot on. This is the whole point of Movie Club, is to talk to people about movies that we love, and we certainly appreciate everyone's feedback and everyone's support. Hit us up on Patreon for some more ways to be an invested supporter. And until next time, this is 3 Films and a Podcast, signing out.
See ya.
All right, he beat you in basketball, and then what happened? After it was all over, he took us in the house and served us pancakes. Well, I gotta admit, it was a good game.
I wish I could say the same for you and your crew of flunkies. Do you guys want some grapes?
I mean, there's some great storytellers in the world that we live in today, man.
Bitches.
Make up that